Hey, my YouTube family. This is Natalie. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, but I was on the phone having a conversation and I had some real emotions, some real thoughts, and it's a lot of things that we as people deal with, whether if we're in or out of relationship with people or with someone. So, me and my partner felt like that this would be a good video to do for y'all to hopefully help someone that may be going through things like this. Because sometimes you don't understand why you act a certain way or why you respond to situations the way you do, or even where these different triggers come from or the things that may trigger you. So, tonight we're just going to talk about it. I don't know what the title of this video is going to be yet, but I'm going to just tell y'all that everything that I felt in the moment happened within a matter of 15 minutes. Like, all my emotions changed just like that. So, did you want me to give your name, or did you care about, any of that, or just we just, you just want to remain discreet, or huh?
However you want to do it, it's fine with me.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna protect you, and we're gonna keep it low key.
Okay, sounds good.
We gonna keep it low key, y'all. And I'm gonna call him. God dog it. What's the name I used to give you? Smooth. We're gonna call him Smooth. That's gonna be his new name for 2024. Smooth. So we on the phone with Smooth. Perfect name. So um I have been talking to Smooth all day. Well, not really all day. Was it all day?
Wasn't all day.
It was like, on and off today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I'm talking to him, it's that energy, that motivation, that encouragement that I get from him. And before I got on the phone with him, y'all, I was just kind of just coasting around the house. I wasn't doing too much. I wasn't. I'm supposed to be working in my kitchen, but I wasn't doing it. Like, I had a cake that's due tomorrow, but I wasn't thinking about doing no cake. I wasn't thinking about going out and selling nothing. I was just pretty much just lazing around the house. And I called him and I got on the phone with him when we start talking. And every single time I talk to Smooth, he encourages me in some way or another or motivates me in some way or another, especially when it comes to finances. And in one of our other videos that we did, which I encourage y'all to go back and watch, it was about the things that we're supposed to do with money or the things that we should do with money. I encourage y'all to go check it out because they have some very, very good points in there that would help you, me, so many other people. But anyway, so while we're talking, I was telling him about some of the things I was doing, and he had encouraged me. I got up, I started moving around the house. That connection that we have when we're in communication with each other, it's phenomenal. I'll get up and start baking, start producing, start doing stuff. It's like once I talk to him, I feel like I could conquer the world. That's just straight up. I feel like I can do anything, like I'm Superwoman. I just get out there and I'm going to get it. So the other side is when I don't talk to him, I go to tripping. I feel like a little kid that then lost her best friend. I feel lost. I feel like I don't know what to do or how to do it. It's like it's like I can have all the answers for the test, but when it comes time to take the test, I'm like, okay, well, what my teacher said and what I was supposed to do and how I was supposed to do it, it's almost as if there's oh, I don't know how to say it. It's something missing.
A disconnect.
There you go. It's a disconnect. So we talked for maybe a few hours. I got up in my kitchen. I started baking cakes. I was online producing and promoting and showing people what I had and finding new pictures and new things I could do and sending it to him to see what he thinks about it. And he even came up with a new cake or the name of a cake. Do you want to explain that? Like, it's really a nude cake, y'all. But when I told him about it and I showed him the picture, he had a whole totally different perception on it. So tell him about that cake because I didn't explain it well. Mom.
Well, you sent me a white cake with fruit on top of it, and it was called a naked cake.
Right.
I'm like, well, I like my cake with clothes on it, but we'll go with the concept of was a naked cake. So the first thing popped up in my head was the Garden of Eden, being that Adam and Eve was naked and they had fruits and vegetables on fruits pretty much. Not gonna say vegetables, but I know for sure I saw fruit on top of it. And I think that's pretty much what inside the garden that we should be eating on as of today. But for some reason that's what popped up in my head when I saw, had the concept of the naked cake and the fruit on top, because I don't think us as humans should really be eating meat, but that's what we've pretty much been prone to. So that's how I get the concept of the Garden of Eden for the cake.
Awesome. So when I heard that, I'm like, what? Okay. I didn't even think about it like that. Like, okay. I said, so I'm going to take that cake and I'm going to post that one. And when I did, people started liking it. They were saying they wanted that one. That was fire. That was on point. Some of the people was thinking I already made it, but most of the time, what I do is I'll take a cake and I'll put it out there and see who likes it and who's interested in it, and then I come back and I produce that same cake or something similar to that, but put my touch on it. So everything was just going smooth. Everything was going good because I was on the phone with Smooth. You know what I'm saying? And he even inspired me so much where he went out of his way and went to a store and seen different cakes that was in the bakery section and took the time to send me different pictures of all these different cakes to say, hey, this is what I was talking about. Because I think one of them was like, what was it? It was the variety cake, right?
Different, 4 different variety of cakes.
Right.
Carrot cake, chocolate cake, red velvet,
and I think carrot cake.
Some other, yeah, it had 4 different flavors of cakes, but it was, just general different ideas on what to present to people.
Right. So when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, now I'm really pumped. I'm ready to do it. So I had some cupcakes that I baked like the other day. So I took them cupcakes and I'm putting them inside the containers. I'm motivated. I'm putting everything together, snapping them up. Got my icing done. Like I'm about to do all this stuff. From not doing nothing, sitting around, and I need y'all to hear me. From not doing anything, just lazing around, to getting up and being productive, to getting up and actually making something, putting cakes in containers, putting cakes in the oven, putting the cakes on Facebook and promoting what I'm doing. And I'm like, yes, that connection. And it was like I was so on fire to the point I'm in my kitchen and I'm baking up another cake. You know what I'm saying? Like getting it, getting it, getting it. And the reason why I'm giving y'all all this back history is because I'm showing you that it's important to know who you're connected to, because certain connections could bring out the best in you and certain connections could bring out the worst in you. And I had the opportunity to experience both tonight. So we're going to talk about it. So, y'all, let me tell you. So, he was, after he left the store where the bakery was at, he went to another store and he say, okay, I'm going to call you back after, how you said that? I'm going to call you what?
I'm going to call you back when I come out of the store.
Right. He said, I'm going to call you back when I come out of the store. So I was like, okay. And I got off the phone. Y'all, within a matter of 15 minutes, all my emotions had changed. I started becoming angry. I started becoming insecure. I started looking for a reason to stop. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, I had so many different thoughts and feelings coming up in my head. Like, the enemy really was playing on my mind within a matter of, from the time I hung up the phone with him until the time I got back on the phone with him. So let me tell you what took place. I I got off the phone with him and I called someone back that had called me that I missed the call. And when I got on the phone with this person, they were angry. They was mad at somebody or something, but it wasn't me. And I was telling them, hey, I got a cake. I put it in the oven. And they started fussing and complaining like, I don't want to pay this price for this cake. And why is this, that, and the other? And da, 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 and going off. And then got mad, and said, I'm going to get off the phone with you. I got to go. And I'm like, in the middle of me getting off the phone with them and hanging up the phone, my whole mindset shifted. Now I'm in the kitchen. I'm tripping. I'm thinking, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to bake. This sucks. Now I'm getting mad at him because he didn't got off the phone with me. It's his fault that I'm feeling some type of way because he was supposed to stay on the phone with me. Ain't that something? I didn't got mad. I didn't got angry. Now I'm thinking like, why he couldn't talk to me when he was at this store, when he was talking to me at the other store, and security's and set up in there. I'm like, tripping. Now I'm in the kitchen and I could feel my spirit man within a matter of minutes begin to change from joyful, happy, being productive to angry, mad, resentful, and wanting to stop. Like I was ready to quit doing everything I was doing. And not even taking into consideration the fact that this is all the stuff this person who I just got off the phone with was dealing with. So y'all, now I didn't call him. And I'm gonna show you how you gotta be in tune with God to see the enemy and how he's coming at you. Because the enemy don't care who he used or what he used to come at you. When he want to stop you or when he want to sow seeds of discord or destruction, he'll use anything or anybody to stop you from being productive. So now I'm feeling some type of way. I'm walking in the kitchen. I didn't stop baking the cake. Let me tell you what I did. I made the cake, put it in the pan, and did not put it in the oven. I didn't even turn the oven on to start it. I was that mad and didn't even know why I was mad. I was so mad. I was supposed to be putting on another cake to start mixing it up. I didn't even do that. I had got mad immediately. My mind say, go get a drink and sit down. You don't have to do this. Go get you a glass of wine. Go sit outside on the porch. You don't have to do that. Stop doing all this. Why are you doing this anyway? I had so many different negative thoughts come in my head. So I called him. And the first thing I came out my mouth with was, so you think this is a game, huh? And I say, so you think this is a game, huh? You know what I'm saying? He was like, what are you talking about? I'll let him tell y'all his part. So,
excuse me? I don't understand. Explain, please.
Okay. And I'm tripping because I don't know what I'm going through, but I'm telling him, so you think it's a game? And he like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, you disconnected from me. No, you got to be a special kind of special to not understand. If a person say they gonna call you back, they gonna call you back. Ain't nothing wrong with somebody calling me back. You know what I'm saying? So what was going through your mind when I was saying all that stuff?
Well, first of all, cray. But it's just I'm caught off guard because I don't know what this game thing means. Because I know when we got off the phone, it wasn't that kind of conversation. Right. So I'm like, okay, what game are we talking about? And so you decide to explain to me about the difference in the stores. And I said, well, of course, I went in the first store because I had something to show you. So I took pictures of it and sent it to you. We explained, we talked about it. The other store didn't have anything to show you in that store. So I was going to run in, come out, go to the house because my house is right around the corner from it, settle down, and call back. By that time, everybody else in the house will be settled. That way, it'd be a one-on-one. But of course, it didn't turn out that way.
Nope.
Because nobody sent me the memo.
Nope. So now I'm mad. And again, I don't even know why I'm mad. I'm just mad out of nowhere. So I'm asking him, like, why you can't talk to me? Like, we was just talking at the other store. Why you can't talk to me at this store? And he's like, well, I had nothing to show you. So while I'm talking to you, he said it was a purpose in me going to this store. I went out of my way to go to this other store to tell you or to show you about these different cakes that you could, give you an idea or something to go with. And I'm sitting there the whole time he talking, I'm just boiling inside. Like, and the whole point of it was inwardly, I just missed his conversation. Like, I really missed him. I really wanted to talk to him. I wasn't ready to get off the phone, but I didn't know how to get into I can't say vulnerable. What's another word for it?
Vulnerable.
I wasn't getting in
a like it is.
I wasn't getting vulnerable enough to say, hey, I wasn't ready to get off the phone with you. I still wanted to talk to you. It's that connection that keeps me or that gives me that drive to keep going. And I didn't know how to say that. So I pretty much went around the bush and tried to make it something that it wasn't, saying, well, you didn't want to talk to me because you was at this store and we was talking all before and everything was good. And he's like, hold on, you on an emotional roller coaster. I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, to me that's drama.
Right.
That's pettiness. And at that moment I wasn't going that way. I say, I don't want to go on this ride because I get dizzy. And I don't like being dizzy. Well, she claimed it wasn't a roller coaster ride. I said, well, it's something small that in my mind, spiritually, it takes over. It don't always have to be something dramatic. Sometimes it could be a small thing, like I mentioned to her, like a spark. It only takes a spark to start a forest fire. And I saw that thing coming. And if I would allow myself to do what she did, which was defending myself instead of recognizing what it was, and then we would have been in a whole different situation just based on her not just saying when she got on the phone, I didn't really want to get off the phone. I wish you would have stayed on the phone, or even telling me that before I said I'll call you back when I come out of the store. Would have been avoided all the way around.
Right. And y'all, when I'm telling you, while he was in the middle of talking, like my spirit man started to humble itself and calm down. Because he was saying that, I'm not doing this with you. No, this is a habit. This is a pattern. I've seen this before. And I'm thinking, like, this is not what this is. I'm just in my emotions and I can't verbally express what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling to you because I'm mad and I don't know why I'm mad. So I can't come out and tell you that I'm mad because I don't even know what I'm mad about. So how can you explain something to someone when you don't even know what you're dealing with? And that be the thing sometimes. When the enemy come at you and start attacking you in different ways, sometimes you can't even explain what it is that you're feeling or dealing with in order to express it to the person that you're talking to or the person that you're in contact with. So when he chose to not get in the flesh and to break it down and teach me and bring it to a spiritual level, he used the point of saying all it takes is a spark to ignite the whole forest. All it takes is a spark. And I couldn't understand what that meant. What does that mean? What is a spark in your eyes with a person's actions or with my actions? What was that spark?
Well, like I said earlier, every time people get into something, they always think it's something massive when you get into disagreements, arguments, debates, whatever you want to call it. But it doesn't always start off big. A forest fire is large once it gets started. Like you think about California, they're always having fires, but it started from something small.
Right.
And in that instance, you didn't even recognize what you were doing, but I could from past behavior.
Right.
And like say, I learned one thing: if you already prayed up, you don't have to prepare for the enemy.
That's right.
You're already ready for the enemy. So being that I was in the space, it caught me off guard, but at the same time, my spirit man told me, hey, this is something that you don't want to deal with in the flesh because it's going to get out of hand, because he's looking for division. And as long as we're not together, she's not going to produce. If she's not producing, that means me and her are going to be at odds for whatever reason. And that's the whole concept. So it was up to me to recognize what this thing was going. And I told her that my forest has green trees.
That's what he said.
All year round. And I'm not going to let you burn down my forest.
That's what he said.
And I'm not going on this roller coaster ride. If you want to go, you go by yourself. Find you somebody to take, because I'm not going with you.
That's what he said. Oh my gosh. When I heard him say that, I kind of laughed inwardly. But I knew that he was telling the truth, because like he just said, the enemy don't care how he comes at you. His whole objective is to steal, to kill, and to destroy. So with our relationship, when the enemy come in, I go on silent mode where I quit talking for like weeks and months at a time. And the enemy knows that. So when we quit talking, everything would just slow down. Like finances slow down for me on my part. I don't want to get up and work no more. I don't want to get up and do as much as I was doing. Like even with interacting with people outside the home, it's like I get into this cocoon or this shell where I don't want to deal with people or even things. And that's a bad place to be in.
It's called a state of depression.
A state of depression. Thank you. So I would get into that state of depression and I just close myself off to my room, and I do the bare minimum pretty much. I'm not really producing or operating in my full potential. And the enemy knew that. So when he was able to recognize it, and he was talking about the forest and the trees, and my trees is green, and you not gonna burn down my forest. And I'm like, this dude here, not knowing he not speaking directly to me. He's speaking to that spirit in me that's trying to rise his head up and come and destroy what we were just doing. Because like I told y'all, I was in the kitchen. I started baking. I started putting stuff together, preparing for tomorrow. And I'm just getting as much as I can done with the time that I can get it done. So while I'm noticing all this and I'm doing all this, I don't notice that at the same time that he's talking to me and he's telling me these different things, he's speaking life into me through rebuking me. And I told him after I calmed down, I said, you rebuked me. He said, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. You rebuked me. I said, but it was a good thing. You want to talk about that part?
Well, my part wasn't, I didn't never think about me rebuking her, because it wasn't like she just mentioned, it wasn't her I was targeting. It was that spirit that she brought from that few minutes that we spent apart. It was none of that. So being recognized that it was something wrong, it's like I'm sending a message to the spirit of whatever this was, wherever she get it from, or however it jumped on her. So my whole thing was letting the spirit know, hey, look, we're not doing this tonight. I ain't in the mood. I done worked hard. You done worked hard. So we're not finna sit here and allow this thing to take control, and be in charge, because it's up to us of who we in charge of, which is ourselves.
No, you say I'm gonna be the adult.
We can't control nobody else. Do I?
You say I'm gonna be the adult.
Yeah, I say one of us got to be the adult.
That's right.
So it might as well be me. So right now, what you doing? It's like, as she say, it's not called adulting.
Right.
No, it is not. But I say she talking about it has nothing to do with that. Yeah, it does. Because if you recognize you in this space, you do something about it. If you don't recognize, then somebody else has to see it.
That's right.
And since I saw it, I had to call it out.
That's right.
And, if you want to talk about something later or do this later, that's fine. But I'm not doing this on the phone today because we're not going to get anywhere with it.
That's right. And in that matter of me getting off the phone with him and getting on the phone with someone else, the connection that we had, it was broken. And when that connection was broken, the enemy immediately started to sow these seeds of discord. And I'm like, okay, something ain't right. Like, I could feel something wasn't right. And y'all, he was laughing, but I told him, I say, no, he kept saying, it was only 15 minutes. And I say, and, like I said, felt like 15 years to me because I was under so much of an attack within a matter of, like, it was so intensified and I could not explain it. And I thank God that he was in tune enough to hear, see, and understand what was going on, enough to call that out in me, bring me to open rebuke, and tell the spirit that had transferred from the phone call that I was on, we not doing that today. Can somebody say man of God with authority? Okay. He said, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, while he's talking, my spirit man is being calm. And I told him, I say, it's almost as if my gas tank was on full. I think this is the best way I can explain it to you, to tell you what happened to me from a spiritual perspective to a natural perspective. My gas tank was on full. And when I got on the phone with this person, it's like as soon as they hung up the phone, my gas tank started going, my needle started going down. I said, and it went down so much to the point I got to a quarter of a tank of gas. I said, by the time I was on that quarter of a tank of gas, I was angry. I was mad. I was feeling insecurities. I was ready to give up. I was ready to quit. All within a matter of 15 minutes, y'all. Like, in what world? I knew I wasn't dealing with nothing natural. I knew it was supernatural. And I'm like, okay, help me understand. Why do you think I responded that way? Because I knew he knows me better than anybody I know. And he's been around me for a long time. So he knows my habits. He knows my patterns. He knows my ways. He knows my likes and he knows my dislikes. So I trust him to give me his honest opinion. So I asked him, I say, man, why do you think I respond that way? And I'll let him answer that.
Well, clearly the first thing hit my mind was, and I listen to a lot of people talk on YouTube, and it's clear that a lot of these things are childhood trauma.
Right.
These are taught behaviors because right. I have two parents, and I have a dad that's my stepdad, but he's been in my life since I was 2. And he taught me those habits right. of his. So I don't have to be biologically, you don't have to be biologically somebody's child or in somebody, as long as you're in somebody's presence, they can teach you, as you mentioned earlier, good habits or bad habits. They didn't transfer them things over and teach you how to be. And so basically, I was letting them know that we all pick up childhood habits of how we act or react to people.
Right.
And to me, that's a lot of drama. And even as we coming into adulthood, if we don't deal with those things, we're going to carry them on into adulthood because we're going to think these things are all right because we don't know any other way. And so this is the way she knew how to deal with it. You know, instead of coming out and saying, hey, I didn't want to get off the phone, or, you know, you took too long right away, or saying you took too long, and I decided to call you because at that particular time I wasn't ready to get off the phone. So instead, you know, that's when the adult part come in. She acted like a child of trying to figure out how to respond to her feelings.
Right.
And how to explain it to me without having full understanding on how it was going to come out. So it just came out with playing games,
right.
You know, and I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I'm doing, but I'm not going on a roller coaster ride, and I'm not going to do this tonight because this is not what we're going to do. So a lot of us are dealing with childhood trauma, and we don't, after we get grown or of age that's considered grown, a lot of us are still children on the inside because we never gotten a chance to express or deal with those emotions and things of that nature. So I just knew that's what it all stemmed from that. And when you start working yourself out of these things, we don't get a chance to just get everything out at one time. So sometimes it might take years to deal with these things. And that's why it's always considered a spiritual journey.
Right.
Because we're constantly learning how to become a better person, you know, and some of us get out of these things and some of us don't. Those that are willing to get out of those things will understand what I'm saying, and those that don't, they think nothing is wrong, so they're going to remain who they are. So
Right. Right. And we started talking about, as he's talking to me, and I'm starting to understand things now. I'm in a clear head where I can say, okay, well, what happened and why did it happen? And I started to realize what took place. And through the person's emotions and what they were dealing with, who I got on the phone with after I talked to him, their anger, their insecurity was making me look for a reason to give up. And it was a transferring of spirits. And I wasn't thinking anything about it, but just that easy, just that quick, through one phone call of me getting on the phone, having a conversation, thinking it's okay, that spirit of anger, frustration, and whatever else was transferred over to me. And now I'm feeling some type of way and I'm responding in ways that I haven't responded in a long time. And I'm thinking, like, that's why when he was saying, oh no, this is a pattern, oh no, this is, this is a habit. I'm thinking, no, it's not. I don't even know why, but I'm tripping. But it was a transferring from one person to another person, which is why like he said earlier, when you're prayed up or when you stay prayed up, you don't have to get prayed up. When you stay ready, you don't have to get prepared for whatever the enemy comes at you with. And I like that because he could see what I couldn't see. He could feel what I couldn't feel. He could recognize what I couldn't. And he was wise enough to hear and see that this was a distraction from the enemy. And his whole purpose was to destroy what we had just started doing or what he had just poured into me. His whole purpose was to make me stop. And I'm like, okay, that is a pattern. Now it's time to address this pattern and where it came from. Okay, so now I'm looking at, okay, the person who I was talking to is not productive, does not have no work ethics, does not have no get up and go, is not trying to produce anything. So all that was passed and transferred over to me, which is why I wanted to sit down, which is why I didn't want to finish what I started, which is why I didn't choose to continue to keep going until I talked to him. It's very necessary to have somebody in your life that really is walking with God and has the anointing of God on their life, because that lifeline and that connection is so powerful, because they can speak life into you and pull you out of whatever situation it is that you may have gotten your own self into. Because nobody told me to call this person back. I chose to because I thought it was safe. And sometimes what we think is good is not always good. But nevertheless, he was my lifeline and helped me come out of what I had just walked myself into. And sometimes we could blindly walk ourselves into things, not knowing what's on the other side of that. And it was so innocent as just a phone call. But that phone call had me turn on the very person that had made me, or not made me, I'm sorry, wrong choice of words. But that phone call put me in a place where I was ready to turn on the very person that had just encouraged and inspired me to get up and to start producing again. So, why would I stop doing or come against the very person that's helping me? And that's how the enemy works. He wants to divide and conquer. So, he wanted me to come against the person or to bring a separation or a disconnect or whatever, so that way I'm not continuing to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So that way now I'm out of or off track, or I'm out of purpose, or I'm just doing nothing, producing nothing. But let me tell you what he said. When he rebuked me, and that's what I told him, and I had to bust out laughing because he made a joke about it. He say, is it okay if I call you back in 5 minutes? Because now I got to get permission to get off the phone with you, because I don't know where your mind going to go once we get off the phone. And he made a joke about it, and I just bust out laughing because I'm like, okay. So I was like, yeah, you get off the phone. But in my mind, I'm thinking, you say 5 minutes, you got 5 minutes, because I can't explain to you what just happened to me or attacked me. I can't explain it, and I don't want to have to go through that again. So if you say 5 minutes, it's gonna be 5 minutes. So I got off the phone with him, and I called the person back that I had just got off the phone with, the one that transferred the spirit to me. And when I called this person back on the phone, this person is not sounding like they were sounding before. Now she is happy. Her attitude is positive. The cake that I was telling her about before, now she wants to buy it. It's not a matter of I don't want this and I'm ready to get off the phone. It's yes, I do want this. Can I get that? This, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay. And I was kind of nervous to talk to her. Like, am I gonna get the same energy I just got before? Because at that time I still had not put it all together, what took place and where it came from. But while I'm on the phone with her, I'm like, okay, picking up on this. So he called me back in at 5 minutes. And he made a joke. He say, was that 5 minutes? And I bust out laughing. And I'm like, yeah, I said, I was thinking that. I said, while this other person was on the other line, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna call you back. Hey, I'm gonna call you back. And they still talking. I didn't hung up because I knew whatever it was that came over me, I didn't want that to come over me again. So I immediately got back on the phone with him. And while we were on the phone, he was just talking. And I started to realize that the words that he spoke in saying, no, I rebuke you. And he didn't say it just like that, but I'm churchy. So pretty much, no, I rebuke you. You cannot, I'm not doing this. No. No, he didn't just rebuke that spirit in me, he rebuked it in the person as well that had called me with that foolishness. And I didn't catch it until I got back on the phone with this person and they was all nice, sweet, and calm. And I'm like, and I'm telling him about it. I'm like, man, she was different. What were you saying then?
I was saying, first of all, let's just be clear. I wasn't rebuking anything.
Right. He said he wasn't. I said he was.
I have no power to rebuke anything.
That's right. He did say that.
Now, I can bring the message. God is doing the rebuking.
Right.
He gave me the power to speak, and that's it. There's nothing else I can do without him. So my whole thing was just recognizing what it was and being able to not be in my flesh, and all of us is taking part of all of that and allow God to do what he needed to do. So I can't take the credit of the rebuking. I can take the credit of the message.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually the messenger, but I didn't possess the power to move anything. But he did give me the power to put a stop to it.
That's right.
In the sense of recognizing what was going on. And so basically, that 5 minutes was all I needed and all she needed.
That's right.
To get to where we all needed to be. So sometimes we just have to take a time out to get where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter how spiritual we think we are, we're not walking in the flesh. We're not walking in the spirit as often as we're walking in the flesh. So that's what makes it so easy for something else to take over us. Because we're going on about our day. We're not thinking about this, that, and the other. So it's real easy for us to be overtaken by depression, anger, hate, all these negative feelings and emotions, even against somebody that we claim or we say we love.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's human nature.
Mm-hmm.
We're not powerful than a being. They call us a little God, but we don't have that kind of power without God.
Mm-hmm.
So our whole thing was just to be there at the right time to say, hey, we're not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then let God do his thing. And it turned out to where I don't know what she's doing, but I know what we're doing.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what's important. There's no division here. So
that's right.
That's the main thing. So my whole thing is for those that think, because she also mentioned the fact that I put her in her place.
Yeah, I did say that.
First of all, I'm a grown man. She's a grown woman.
That's right.
I'm not trying to put you in your place. You are not a child.
That's right.
I'm not saying we don't have characteristics of children, but we're not children. We should be able to put our own self back in place. But I also told her that we don't need to be put in our place, but even as adults, we need guidance.
Right. Right.
And sometimes we have to be guided by those of the flesh, because God is not walking down here holding our hands.
Right.
He sent people to do that, and typically he sends someone that he feel you can trust,
right,
and love, and can confide in. And at that particular moment, I just happened to be that person. So
right, and he did, and I felt like I got delivered, and the person that had called me with that foolishness had got delivered too, because I sensed and I could hear everything was different. And the purpose was a mature person who is in tune and paying attention to what's going on can actually produce something great. Because just think about it, y'all. What if he would have flipped off and went off on me? What if he would have told me how he was feeling? Like, I just got off the phone with you. Like, are you serious right now? Like, you mad because what if it would have went the other way? Because that's what the enemy wanted it to be. What if, any of those things would have happened? Now we fussing and cussing, and you see it all over the internet. I mean, you see it in probably some of your homes or whatever. Little seeds of discord that causes families to break up, husbands to leave home, wives to leave home, children coming against mothers and fathers, and or parents going against their children. You see some of everything today. Co-workers getting into it because this one didn't do this right, or she said this, or he done that. You see all little seeds of discord going on, but somebody has to be an adult, somebody has to be spiritually in tune, or somebody has to be prayed up in order to see what's going on, recognize the enemy, recognize the attacks, and choose to do something different. Because he gave me a choice. He said, I'm not doing this. We can either do this or we can either do that. You make a choice. I had a choice. So, like he said, he didn't put me in my place. I chose to get in my rightful place and say, you know what? You're right. I was wrong. How many of us are actually making the right choice to humble ourselves and see that, we have an issue, or it was us, or taking accountability for our actions and saying, you know what, I should have handled this differently. I could have said something different. I didn't have to do that way. We have choices in life, and what you do with those choices matter, and it affects everything and everyone around you. So I wanted to give y'all a little bit of insight on what happened in a matter of 15 minutes, and how the what was good turned bad in 15 minutes, but how somebody was spiritually in tune, listening to God in the moment to know what to do and how to do it, how to respond, what to say, what not to say, and how that, how allowing God to come into the situation brought peace in the situation, healing in the situation, deliverance in the situation, and production. Because the very person that told me they didn't want the cake turned around in the second conversation and told me they did want the cake. And the Bible says, I'll make your enemies your footstools. And not that the person was my enemy, but the spirit that was in them was the enemy trying to attack me to get me to stop. But it didn't work. And it actually turned around for our good. And I'm grateful that I had a lifeline that I could go to. So it's always good to be connected to someone that's actually hearing from God and walking with God. And not that we're all perfect, because we all sin and come short. We all fall and get things wrong. I mean, hell, I'm sorry, not hell. Shoot, I just exposed, and was very transparent with y'all about my issues within a matter of 15 minutes. How I was on full, and then my gas tank went to a quarter of a tank, emotionally wise, mentally, from there to there. And he is so right. It's important that you spend time with God, constantly praying, constantly feeling up, because these attacks that's coming now, y'all, it's on a whole nother level. Ain't no warning sign, ain't no signals going off. Like, they smooth with it. Like, the connections are not the connections, the enemy's attacks are smooth. Like, you don't even see it coming sometimes. Or you do see it coming, and if you're not prepared for it, it'll overtake you. But I just wanted to encourage y'all and actually give y'all some insight on everyday life of things that people deal with in relationships or families or jobs or whatever. You go through things. You're not going to always get it right. You're not going to always say the right things. Because I could have just said, hey, I didn't want to get off the phone. But that wasn't what I was feeling. I was mad. You know what I'm saying? And my anger produced a different response. But I could have not answered the phone, which is why it's good to hear from God. Because if I'd have been in tune and paying attention, I'd have known that spirit is not from you inwardly, that's from something else. But it's about to alter your whole little 15 minutes. And I keep stressing that 15 minutes because that's just how long it was. Shoot. After hours of conversation in 15 minutes, just how quick the enemy can come and try to destroy what you've taken time to build up. It don't take long. It don't take long. But you have anything else you want to say?
Well, only thing I want to say, because you kept mentioning about the enemy, and what I found out, or what's coming to me, is enemy means enter me.
Right, your inner person. There you go.
Right. So that's what takes over. That's why it's called the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to take over your territory,
Mm-hmm.
infiltrate you in order to make you do something else or make you fall.
That's good.
So my whole thing is every day, not just your coworkers or those on the outside, sometimes family members,
Right,
are your enemy. So what they're trying to do is enter into your territory to destroy what you have.
mm-hmm.
So in hopes we all have the right discernment, the right spiritual walk. Those that are not fully spiritually in that walk, to still recognize and understand that everyone that says they love you don't love you like that, because you can see who they are.
Come on.
And whoever they show you, believe that's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one can pretend to be something forever.
Right.
Sooner or later, your true personality is going to walk out.
Right.
You know, they call it a representative. So if you're truly a representative of God, that's going to always pursue, is always going to step up and show itself.
That's right.
You don't have to advertise.
That was the thing I told him. I say, man, I get it now. I say, I say, you don't wear a sign saying I'm a man of God and I walk with the Lord and I hear from God, this, that, and the other. So you don't advertise any of that, so I'm a Christian, I'm this, that, and the other. And he would always say, I don't have to advertise who I am. I just have to be who I am. And I'm like, man, I get it now. Because when you're truly walking it out, people see that. They notice that. The good and the bad people, they notice that.
When Jesus didn't go around telling about he's Jesus of Nazareth, no, people used to ask him, who are you? They say he would ask them, who do you say I am?
That's right.
So I'm not telling you who I am. I'm going to let my works, my miracles, and my walk speak for me.
Right.
I ain't got to run around here and tell about I am the Son of God and I was born of a virgin and all that, Mary and all. He didn't have to do all that.
Right.
His lifestyle showed who he was, and he didn't walk around like a rich man, even though he could have.
Right.
He walked around amongst us as we do today.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I feel if I have to advertise who I am, I'm not sure who I am.
Right. Right.
But I am confident in who I am.
All right.
So I don't have to keep promoting, I don't have to get no license plate to say I'm a Christian. Or I'm a this, or I'm a that, or I got the Holy Spirit, or I got this, and I got the, power to do it. I ain't got no power to do nothing without Jesus Christ.
That's right.
And that's include living.
That's right.
I can't get up in the morning, and I can't go to bed at night without him. So, for those that's out there thinking that we all are self-made, we're not. We didn't create ourselves. Something or someone, something out there created us to be who we are.
That's right.
And just as soon as you think you are self-made, that's where the destruction starts. Because that's what Satan has set out to do in the first place in the Garden of Eden with the tree of life, was to put doubt on who we were as human beings, little gods. And it started with the fruit. And we've been deceived ever since. And we're still in that state of mind because the enemy entered into human, into man. And here we are today still fighting that fight. And that's all I have to say.
That is so true. That is so true. That's spot on. And I believe he has summed it all up. So, with that being said, I hope something that we said can help you, even if it's to realize that, hey, you know what? We all fall, we all make mistakes. We're human, but you can choose to stay there or you can choose to do something different. So, I hope that something we said encourages you to think differently or to make different choices. So, that's going to be all for tonight. I have not figured out the title for this yet, but I hope y'all watched until the end. And I hope that this blessed you. We're going to get a title on there and we're going to get this posted. We love you. And again, you have been with Natalie and Smooth. What's your name?
Smooth.
Yes, indeed. Y'all have a good night. Later.